It's still a little too early to tell who the winners and losers are going to be in this Sitzer-Burnett case, but I think it's pretty obvious at this point who one of the big winners will be, and that is Zillow. Let's talk about it. Brian here with Lamacchia Realty, and I've got an article pulled up here that talks a little bit about what Zillow's strategy is moving forward and how they are going to benefit from this particular ruling. Now, for some context, if you flash back to almost exactly 2 years ago, back in November, late October, early November of 2021, that was when Zillow was cutting 25% of its workforce because they had an issue with their Zillow Offers program. Now, Zillow, for those of you that don't remember, Zillow had the Zillow Offers program where you could go in onto Zillow, put in that you are interested in selling to Zillow. They would give you a firm offer on your home, sight unseen, and pay you whatever the algorithm told you that the home was worth. So the take rate on that was, I want to say in the single digits, 1%, 2%, 3%. So if 100 people submitted a lead, they might buy 3 houses. But that was at a time where just they wanted to buy anything because they just thought everything was going to go up in value. Now, of course, the only people that sold to Zillow were the homes that were in absolutely terrible condition, or there was something wrong with them. Like there were all kinds of issues with it. They literally had nobody checking out these homes. So they'd go into markets, say like a market like Phoenix, Arizona, and they buy a place for $300,000, and the house is really in the condition that it's in might be worth like $175 or $150. So they were losing their shirts left and right on these homes. So that went bankrupt, and as a result of that terrible business decision and poor management to offer something like that, they ended up cutting 25% of the workforce. But you know who did not get fired? Their CEO, Rich Barton, and he is back, and he is back with a vengeance. So let's take a look at this article, and we can explore and see what this means to them. Zillow execs imagine a world without buyer's agency. If buyer's agency does disappear, Zillow is considering models where 1 or 2 large portals offer pay-to-play inclusion on a digital listings marketplace. I wonder who they're going to pay to play. In addition to discussing Zillow's financial results and the continual evolution of the housing super app vision, which I've never heard of, on its third quarter earnings call, CEO Rich Barton and Zillow executives took time to address the elephant in the room, the verdict of the Sitzer-Burnett Commission lawsuit. While the industry has yet to find out what Judge Stephen Bowe's injunction will say, and the 3 defendants, NAR, Keller Williams, and Home Services of America, have vowed to appeal the decision, Barton believes his firm will thrive regardless of the outcome. In his remarks about the suit, Barton said Zillow is a strong supporter of free, fair, and transparent access to real estate information, independent representation, and transparent and negotiable agent commissions. From where we stand, it seems clear that these principles are in the best interest of mover consumers, agents, and the industry as a whole, Barton said. We expect industry changes resulting from the lawsuit or ones like it will involve commission transparency and negotiability provisions similar to those seen in several of the settlement the plaintiffs entered into with other real estate franchisors in advance of the trial. This is, again, something that NAR did a terrible job explaining during the trial, but there already was negotiation. There already was transparency in the transaction. This is something that is just completely baseless. Barton also told listeners that Zillow believes complete disruption to the existence of buyer's agents is improbable, as the firm believes it is important for buyers to have someone looking after their interests in the home buyer transaction. However, if buyer's agency does disappear, Zillow is considering models where the U.S. market transitions to one where 1 or 2 large listing portals offer pay-to-play inclusion on a digital listings marketplace. So let's spend some time on this. So buyer agency, I do not think buyer agency is going to go away, but I do think buyer agency is going to change dramatically. And who compensates the buyer agent? Right now, it typically comes out of the sale proceeds, and that's something that is negotiated up front by the listing agent. But again, it's always negotiable. It has been negotiable, and it will continue to be negotiable. It has always been negotiable. I can't tell you how many deals I've done where either I've asked for an increase in the commission offered by the seller to compensate me as the buyer's agent. And then there have been times, and I've been successful in doing that. And then there have been other instances where I've actually offered part of my commission to help put a deal together. Right. So if it's a competitive situation and we're close and we're just not quite there yet, if there's something that I can do to help my buyers get into a home, not necessarily of their dreams, but just get into a home and get an offer accepted, I'm going to do that because the relationship that I have with my buyer means more to me than my paycheck. So anyways, this has already been happening, but let's talk about this digital listings marketplace. I think this has been Zillow's long-term plan all along. And they've dabbled with it in the past, but really when it came to fruition was a couple years ago, they changed the way in which they list rentals. So in the past, when you put a rental in MLS, that used to propagate and syndicate across multiple platforms, including Zillow, Trulia, HotPads, like all these different places. It would just show up on those sites, similar to the way that it works with regular listings, like a home for sale. Well, again, a couple years ago, MLS cut that off and they said, we're no longer going to be sending you that. So instead, if you're a real estate agent, you now have to pay Zillow, Trulia, HotPads, Redfin. Actually, I'm not sure if Redfin might give you a free listing, but anyways, all of these different websites, if you have an apartment to rent, you as the real estate agent now have to pay to put your listing on those sites. So that is the ultimate end game for a site like Zillow, and they're the ones that are going to benefit the most from this, because what happens is when you decouple the buyer agent commission and the listing agent commission, now all of a sudden what's the point of MLS, right? Because there's no sense in necessarily sharing because people are distancing themselves from NAR. MLS is based on the NAR cooperating commission rule. So as brokerages take their listings out of MLS and they develop their own systems, there's going to be many people who say, well, to maximize my exposure and get the highest number of buyers, I'm going to put it instead of an MLS, I'm going to actually pay for placement on Zillow, on Redfin, on Trulia, on all these other sites that potentially could generate more interest and more eyeballs than what you can get on your, through putting it in your local MLS. So that's like pretty far down the road, but I can kind of see as a vision, that's what I see happening moving forward. Let's keep reading. In this scenario, Zillow would be an odds-on favorite to become the leading digital listings marketplace given our brand, traffic, engagement, and our unique focus on solving movers' real pain points. Okay, you're not solving the movers' real pain points. The real pain points are people are making, say, combined $100,000 and the home in their area is $750,000. How's Zillow going to fix that? They're not. That's the pain point. It has nothing to do with how people are currently buying and selling homes in this country. Despite what Barton believes would be an advantage for his firm, he said Zillow is not advocating for this to happen. We believe pay-to-play marketplace is a step backwards for consumers in the industry as a whole, and we very much like our positioning growth plan in a market structure that continually evolves toward our principles of access, independence, and transparency. So there's a couple of other things in here about Zillow's financial results and stuff. We're not going to cover about that. I'll leave a link to the article down below, but you can see what he's saying here. Like, what does he say? We hope it doesn't happen, but if it does, wink, wink, we're going to be well positioned to take advantage of it. So what do you think? Is Zillow on the right track here? Are they the ones that are going to benefit the most? Or is it some other organization, some other website, some other company? I don't know. Let me know down in the comments below what your thoughts are. I'm going to be looking at this very closely over the next several months to see how it all shakes out. But I think Zillow is in a really unique position to take advantage of what's to come. So anyways, that's all I have today. Take care. See you in the next one.